everybody, it's Sandy, and today I'm going to color a stamp designed by Jamie Doherty for Prima Stamps. It's one of her Bloom Girls, and the Bloom Girls are just these really big heads of beautiful, beautiful women. And when I was in Topsfield, Massachusetts, they had just gotten in the Bloom Girls. They were on the rack, I was looking at them, and this particular one I saw, and the instant I saw this outline, I could envision the dreadlocks that she had in her hair. I knew exactly how they would flow and curl and everything. I just saw it. It was one of those weird things. I almost bought the stamp, but I wasn't sure I would use it on a card since it's such a big image, but I really wanted to try it. One of the customers, who also was a student in my class, was holding the stamp in her hand. She was ready to buy that one and a couple others. She was trying to decide which ones she was going to keep and which ones she was going to put back on the shelf. And I said, I tell you what, if you buy that stamp right now and stamp one for me, I will color it right here in front of you, and we'll use the markers that you have in your collection. Because I wanted her to buy it, but I also wanted to have the chance to color it myself. So Diane, thank you for buying that stamp and letting me color it. And then I had to go buy it because I fell in love with it after I colored it. So let me show you how I did the braids on this one. I'm starting off by coloring the bottom section of the hair. Normally I would take the lightest color that I'm going to use and color the whole thing, but since this is such a large image, the bottom section is going to be all dark, this whole kind of underside of the braids. So I'm coloring this with W8. I think this was the color that I used when I colored it for Diane. I'm not positive because I didn't write those colors down. However, I'm pretty sure it was this marker combination that I'm going to be using today. So I'm coloring just the underside with W8. And a lot of people would use a W8 as their darkest color in something, but I'm going to go even darker because I want this to really look like rich, dark black braids. So now I'm taking my W6 marker and filling in the rest. So instead of coloring that W6 underneath all that W8, I figured I'm just going to split it part way. And I did a little bit of blending, but there's going to be so much braids going over top. Not going to be a really big issue that some of this is, you know, still a little bit on the lumpy side blending wise. So I'm just filling in the W6 across the whole thing. Now this little part in the front may have been meant to be just a poof of hair as opposed to wisps of hair. When I colored it as wisps, several people who were watching in the demo were just surprised. They said they never would have done that. So you can fill it all the way in, but I really love the wisps that reflect these wisps of hair down at the bottom. Now I'm going in with a black marker. This is the 100 marker. You could also use the 110. I don't really see a whole lot of difference between the 100 and the 110, if you've ever wondered. I'm not sure that there's much difference except for people who are real aficionados of coloring things with blacks. Possibly people who do a lot of black and white sketching would find a really good difference between them enough to need both markers, but I have both anyway, and I just use one when the other one dries out. So I sketched in the braids that are kind of coming horizontally across her hair, and now I'm going to just start doodling in the shadows to indicate some of those wisps of hair that go up, all of those curls that go upward on her hair. And I'm just going to keep adding more and more of that. And I'll just keep doodling and scribbling. I'm not really worried about trying to make them look individually like braids of any sort, because even dreadlocks don't tend to always look like braids. They're a little more on the squishy side shape-wise, I guess you could say. I'm not an expert on dreadlocks by any means, but this is just what I'm trying to give as an impression of what dreadlocks would look like. So I'm continuing with this dark marker, this black marker, to add just tiny, tiny details now in different select spots across the hair. Because the more of those individual little spots that I'm able to create, each one of those is going to add a little bit more definition. And any place where maybe the hair comes together toward a root, that will be in shadow. So I'm just adding a little bit of definition so it looks like there's a poof of hair coming from there. A little tiny bit of the dark detail in the top of the hair, but not a whole lot. And then I'm going to do a little bit underneath of this part right above her face. Next, I'm taking my W8 marker. Again, this is the W8 that I started out with in that dark section. And I'm adding to the shadows on each one of these curls of hair. So some of them, you know, at the very bottom section, they're going to have 2 coats of that W8. And then as it moves up, it's going to, the W8 is the shadow on the W6. So I'm just kind of extending those shadows, but letting them slowly get lighter as they get toward the top of her hair. Some people will try to leave white or a super light gray at the top of something black because they're trying to create some contrast. But here you can see that if you take your really dark markers and you create those really dark shadows with those, it doesn't matter a whole lot that you don't have a whole lot of super light at the top. If you end up finding that you do need some more, you can always go in with either a colorless blender or a really light gray. If you go in with a W3 or W4, you can even pull out some more highlights if you color in too much. So I'm just adding lots more texture and detail with this W8 marker across the entire top section of the hair, and following the curls wherever I think they would go on these front ones. I'm just adding a little bit of that. I didn't want any black along that top section because I wanted those to feel wispier. So they only have the W6 and W8. And now I'm going to go in on this whole curved section toward the bottom that the whole thing is going to be much darker. There's going to be a few tiny little spots of the W8 that's going to show up as one layer. The rest of this where you're seeing me color, that's 2 layers of the W8. So it's getting a little bit darker, and I'm trying to only leave tiny bits that will give you that definition, I guess, of those braids going across her hair. So that's kind of where I'm headed with this hair. Now let's move down to the bottom section, and this is all wispy hair. And wispy hair is going to be a little bit lighter, but I'm still going to go in with my 100 marker, my black, and add some really dark contrasting shadows. There's going to be more of the shadow part at the top section, and it's going to get lighter as it gets down to those thinner wisps at the bottom and the tips of her hair. But the more of these little squiggles I add, the more detail it's going to look like has been added to the stamp, because the stamp itself just has those bare outlines around it. So now I'm going to soften some of that harsh blackness with my W8 marker and just soften that up just a bit more so that it feels a little bit fluffier rather than streaky. And the whole idea behind this whole hair is to really make loose squiggles and not try to make every single individual hair look super defined. For the final touch on the hair, I'm going to add some purple. Yes, purple! Oh my gosh, Sandy's crazy. Well, a lot of black hair has purple or blue or different colors in it, and I'm just throwing in a little light wash of purple across a bunch of different areas. Some of it is the dark areas, some of it's the highlights, but I'm making sure that I also leave some of those gray highlights because I don't want her to look entirely like she's got, you know, super purple tinted hair. But if you didn't know that this purple was added right here and you just looked at it, you would say she has black hair, not purple hair. So I'm adding just enough to add a little bit of interest to the hair and doing it all along the bottom as well. I'm going to show you the rest of the coloring of this image in a few weeks. Why in a few weeks? Because I am going to do a video on the Simon Says Stamp channel that I'm working on right now, and that's going to be all about skin tones. Different color combinations, different types of skin, different ethnicities, etc. And there's going to be PDF downloads and everything for you over there. So when I post the skin tone video here, I will link to that one so you can get to everything pretty easily. I could use your help with this. I would like pictures of a variety of people that I can work from because I want to try to match some skin tone colors. So go to Instagram, don't email me, go to Instagram and post a picture and make it a nice headshot, no crazy lighting, no filters or anything. I just want to see the honest skin tones, and tag it with Copic Skin. Now, if you do that soon, I may use you in the video, and if I do, then I will send you a stamped image of something colored with your skin tones. If you want to continue posting pictures of yourself or your skin colorings with the tag Copic Skin, that'll be a great resource for all of us to have, either to work from those colors or to work from different faces and try to get different color combinations to work for ourselves. I almost forgot to tell you, in my blog post for today, which is linked in the doobly-doo down below, I also have this image colored as if it was a blonde girl with dreadlocks, because I have a niece who's got blonde dreadlocks, and I thought you might be interested to see that as well. So be sure to click through on that, and don't forget to subscribe because there's lots more fun going on here all the time. One last announcement, I'm going to be doing another little mini trip to the East Coast, and I will be teaching at Queens Ink on Labor Day weekend. So make sure you check the Queens Ink website and find out when that's going to be and what you need to do and how you need to sign up. And I will see you there, and I will see everybody else here next week. Bye now.